Hello and welcome to English with Jimmy. Today's subject is how to write headlines. Okay, I was going to start by talking to you about headlines and editors and some brief history of the media in the United Kingdom. Okay, but I'll go straight to how to write headlines first, and then we can go back to that part. Okay, and talk. Okay, about it. All right. So we'll move on down straight away to the point which will how to write headlines. Number one, a headline should be large size letters, bold and capital letters. Okay, in order to attract the reader's eyes. Example: war and peace. You can see. Okay, big large size, bold, capital letters. It should also be bright colors like red or yellow. Look at this McDonald colors. Okay, it's inflation is up and it's in yellow and red. So move on to headlines should be in contrasting background. The background is dark and the letters are bright white. Okay, so these are important. And remember, bold letters, size bold capital letters, and remember colors should be like red and yellow, very good for advertising. And a contrasting background, important for reading to make it easy to read. Okay, especially if they're large. And then number four, when you're writing a headline, grammar rules are not very respected very much. Okay, we not go into like think of the past perfect tense and past continuous and so on. Okay, example: plane crash. That's it. You don't have to say an airplane crashed yesterday over a mountain, or an airplane has crashed. That is very too long, too many words. There's not enough room for the headline, and not enough space, and probably the reader will just find it not very catchy. So plane crash is quicker and faster than, okay, no grammar, just go for the no grammar. Okay, go for the headline, just for the word plane crash. Some similar like facts. Okay, yeah. Now headline number five should be short and to the point. And so the idea to get the idea to in the reader's mind in a glance. In a glance, like example, Liverpool wins FA Cup. Finished. Very brief. Okay, very short, straight to the point. That's also number six. Headlines should be factual, okay, mysterious or shocking or alluring or funny, in order to make the readers curious, interesting, interested, and happy and wanting to know more. So the headlines should be uh, factual, talk about facts or attract attention, okay, shock the reader or entice him to read more, or funny, makes him laugh. Okay, so let's take a look here. The king is dead. That is mysterious. We don't know who's dead, the real king or an artist named King. That's one. Tory landslide factory. That's factual. Okay, the Conservative Party won the election, so here is the result straight away. Tory landslide victory. You see the headline, you know the result, and you knew. Okay, you probably were waiting to find out what happened, and now you woke up in the morning and you find on the news that the Tory party won. Okay, right. Another example: "Zip me up before you go go." That's a funny headline. It's about a famous singer who was arrested by the police for indecent act in public, and one of his famous songs was "Wake Me Up Before You Go Go." So they turned into "Zip Me Up Before You Go Go." I know, a bit rude, but a little bit funny and makes people laugh and want to read and find out what did this famous singer did. Rest in peace. Um, He's not alive anymore. Everyone knows him anyway. Okay, use common idioms or popular phrases or famous slang words for the headlines for easy reach of the readers' Psychology, yes, that's true. Common idioms, common phrases. People tend to relate to them and understand the subject a lot quicker. So here you go. Cat got your tongue. That was a headline about Colonel Oliver North pleading the Fifth Amendment and keeping silent in court about 15 felonies described as the felonies described as a scandal of selling arms to Iran to finance the Contras in Nicaragua. No, no, it's a political issue. It was a hot potato at the time, and he wanted to keep quiet, protect himself. So the editors just put the question to him: "Cat, got your tongue? What happened to you? Why are you quiet? Why don't you tell the people what happened? The truth." Okay. And the idiom is very famous. Most of the people know it. "Cat, got your tongue" makes you makes them laugh, and at the same time give them the fact about Colonel Oliver North being silent. Okay. Number eight, use famous names in writing headlines. That's headlines in order to whet the reader's appetite for news. Okay? So, for example, Angelina and Brad to divorce. Everyone knows Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, the famous actors and actresses. So the headlines using the names will make you curious to read the website or of that magazine or newspapers, or to read the newspaper and so on. So using famous names is also important in headlines. Okay, in writing headlines, use innuendo. Okay, use sarcasm, use insinuation, or change word spelling to tantalize the reader's imagination. I know I say okay quite a lot. It's on my tongue, right? But slip of the tongue, I use it all the time. But when you write headlines, use innuendo, use sarcasm, use insinuation, even change the spelling. That's all just to get the readers getting the fact and making them laugh a little bit, or curious about also about like maybe something happening. So the example for that, like kissing a frog, that was about the wedding, shotgun wedding, very fast wedding of Julia Roberts, a very pretty famous actress, to a not so good looking singer, okay, Lily Lovett. So there's insinuation here, like kissing a frog. So she's a princess and he is a frog, which means he's not very good looking. Okay, that's it. So the editor is very cheeky. Without saying his opinion in the singer, he's just simply saying that she's too good looking for him. All right. And here are some phrases. These 9 points that we mentioned now, okay, about how to write headlines. Please remember them: the size, the boldness, the contrasting background, no grammar rules, uh, uh, no grammar rules, and factuals and mysterious and idioms and phrases, and make them funny, make them mention famous names, put some insinuation, whet the appetite of the reader, make him want to find out more, make them shocking, and so on and so on. Remember these nine points, please. They're very important in writing headlines. Understanding headlines help you understand the mentality of the people in the country. So in America, it might be a little bit different from Britain, but understanding them and reading them is very important for all my students who want to understand how to communicate and have conversation and write and understand the mentality of the native speakers, the English native speakers. So um, we're gonna go back to talk about headlines, but first let's just have a quick look at some phrases with the word headline. Make the headlines. He made the headlines by committing this heinous crime. Yes, he made the headlines. If someone commits a heinous crime, he will make the headline. Read the headlines. The news about her are everywhere. Here you are. Read the headline. Yes, read the headline. Newspapers headlines. Yes, I won the lottery and my name is all over the newspapers headlines. Yes, um, if you win the lottery or the national lottery, your name definitely millions. I mean, your name definitely is going to be newspapers headlines. News headlines. Example: this is the BBC, and here are the news headlines. The latest headlines. Example for that, this is a CNN news desk. Here are the latest headlines. All these words and phrases we use headlines in the headlines. She's a celebrity now, and her name is in the headlines. Yes. Um, Catch the headlines. The heist will catch the headlines because the loot is $1 billion. That's possibility as an example. Also, we can say something like catch the headlines. The editor like probably shouting at the journalists all over, in the newspapers or in the TV station saying, "Oh, come on, hurry up! We want to catch the headlines," which means catch the morning edition of the newspaper. Um, Grab the headlines. Another example for this, to grab the headlines. He grabbed the headlines by winning Wimbledon tennis tournament. Yes, if you win a tournament for tennis as big as Wimbledon, you will grab the headlines. Hit the headlines. Example: the new show on Broadway hit the headlines. It was very successful, and the critics loved it, so it hit the headlines. I think the headlines caught my attention. Example for that, I was in a hurry to catch the bus, but the headlines caught my attention, so I stopped at the news agent and I bought the newspapers and I waited for another bus. I didn't care about my job or whatever I'm hurrying for. Usually, it could be a job. So the headlines caught my attention. So headlines are very important. It can make people uh, be interested in a certain subject and read more about it. It creates a general public opinion or mood. Okay. Uh, Now we go to the introduction that I wanted to say, which might be a little bit long, but I'll try and make it as brief as possible. Okay? Headlines are in newspapers, in TV programs, and in websites and news. Okay, and they are very important because they're written by for people who want to understand English and understand the mentality of the British and Americans and English-speaking people, Australians, so on. Headlines is created by people who understand the mentality of the people. So if you are in England, okay, you understand the English people. If you live in America and you are the editor, American editor, you understand the mentality of the Americans, so you know how to catch their attention by the headlines you're writing. Okay, so and they are masters of the English language. Okay, in most cases, editors are. Okay, they understand the mentality of the people and know what makes them tick, what makes the people tick. Okay, they create the public mood. They are what you call the media that control the public mood, right? Um, uh, Headlines are read by millions of people, and the more people read headlines and view it, the number of viewers increase. When the number of viewers increase, in the days of the newspapers, we used to call circulation, which is how many copies are sold. Okay, when that happens, that means that the profits will increase because advertisers will put more adverts and the profits will go up, and obviously the owner of the newspapers or the media moguls, as they describe them now, okay, will make lots of money, and also the editors will earn higher salaries and will have celebrity status and perks of the job, and will be invited on TV programs to express their opinions and discuss current issues. Headlines reflect obviously the political view of the owner. Okay, if you own the Times or the Telegraph, you will tell your editor to write in editorial your opinion about the government and political issues. And obviously, if you are the owner of the Mirror newspaper, for example, you will tell your editor to express the opinion of the Labour Party and the left. Okay. Um, Something else. The headlines reflect the subject that that media is about. So if it's talking about politics, it's politics, or if it's talking about art or movies or fashion or cooking or whatever, okay, or sport. The headline represent that subject. Okay? It will be like depending on the subject that the media, the newspaper or the program or the website specializes in. In England, for example, in Britain, we have tabloid newspapers, which are like the Sun and the Star. They are interested in gossips and scandals and rumors about celebrities' lifestyle and okay, so it's not while a Guardian or the Independent or the Times or the Telegraph or newspaper, serious newspaper interested in serious issues and the sophisticated and culture subject, much more sophisticated. So that is uh, depending on the nature of the newspaper. Tabloid will be talking about scandal, or whatever headlines will be a little bit catchy, a little bit sexy, a little so on. And if it's serious, so, Guardian or the Independent and Times, it will be the headlines will be more serious. Yes, you got that? So these are like so headlines. As I keep telling my students, please read the newspapers and compare the headlines about the same issue. See how every editor thinks about it. Okay, political or social or artistic or whatever subject, sportive, whatever subject is. See how the headline is written. But remember the 9 points that I mentioned about the size of the headline and the colors and no grammar and the number of the words reduce and using idioms and phrases. Remember to make the headline mysterious or funny or factual. Uh, all these points that I mentioned are please keep them in mind when you are thinking about writing headlines or also when you read different headlines daily on newspaper to improve your ability to speak and have a decent conversation with a native speaker. Okay, I think that's it really, guys. And as we reach the end, I always like to say I thank you.